I have now shown off all kinds of different robotic lawnmowers, but I'm really excited about this new addition we're going to check out today. This is the ECOVACS GOAT A2500. Now this has a unique feature with a 32 volt energetic platform, which means through all its maneuvering, it's going to have constant power and really get the job done. A huge thank you to ECOVACS for sponsoring this video. Let's get started. Starting off here with what's in the box, it has everything that we need, from the RTK antenna to the power cord to the base station to charge up the GOAT A2500. So here for the setup right over here, I have the RTK antenna. So it does come with some clips to kind of organize the cabling there. You just need to make sure that this has a view of the sky and it's getting enough connection to all the different satellites. So right here should work just great, keeping it as far away from the house as I can. And be careful not to poke any sprinkler lines when you do put it in the ground. I probably could bring it out to the corner just a little bit. Now when you start doing the mapping, it mentions how the RTK antenna and the base station need to stay in place, or if they're moved, it will mess up the mapping. So secure them properly so that they're not moving around. So then over here, it goes right into the back of the base station. So there's a cord that connects directly into the base station. You can get a separate cord for the RTK if you need to power it separately as well. Then we have the base station. It is mounted into the ground. And then we have the power cord that goes pretty far. I did need to use an extension to get it all the way over to my power. Now that we have everything set up, let's take a closer look at the robot. So as I mentioned before, it's built on that 32 volt energetic platform. Down here we have an emergency stop button that once you push that, you can reset it with the buttons here. You can use the buttons to type in a code if you need to. And then here you have a rain sensor. And then back here it's showing that it has LELS, which is the LiDAR enhanced RTK navigation system. And on the bottom here, there's a handle that you can pick it up and move it pretty easily if you ever need to. Now right here on the front, you can see the cameras and the navigation system. So you can actually view this from the app, which is really cool. So this is using the AIVI 3D navigation platform, and it's able to get right up to the edge. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Here you have these little metal pieces, and that is where it's going to plug into the charging dock. And here looking at the bottom, this is able to go between 3 and 9 centimeters in height, or about 1.2 to 3.5 inches. And then here it has these 2 rotary blades, each of them having 3 different blades on them. Now as it's cutting, there is an overlap here, so there's going to be no line that's left when it's cutting. Now the blades here are moving at 100 watts, and it does cut at 3,000 RPMs, which will make the grass look super clean and nice. Now taking a look at the cutting deck, or how wide it can cut, that is 33 centimeters, or that's going to be about 13 inches, which is really great. And then it has this awesome feature, which is edge close cutting. So all the way up to the edge of your lawn, it's going to get within 5 centimeters, or about 2 inches of the edge of the lawn. So super close. And this model is able to cover 5/8 of an acre in 13 hours. Now that even includes charging time, so that is actually pretty fast. And here with the traction control wheels, it can go up slopes of 45 degrees or 27%, and it's gonna have no problem getting around my lawn. Let's get this powered up and set up in the app. Now we're gonna go ahead and get it connected in the app. This is just going to be in the ECOVACS app. Once we head into the app here, I'm just going to scan the code at the top, or tap scan code. It's right here on the top. Yes, I've powered on the robot. And now we need to set a pin code. So press plus or minus for the specific code that we want. And that's great that we can lock it out. So if anything happens to it, it can't be used. All right, very simple. I just had to enter it twice. And now we need to turn on its hotspot to connect it to Wi-Fi by holding down the charge button for 3 seconds. Found my Wi-Fi, now I need to enter the password. And then we can choose a name for it, and then it's going to download and install an update. It does have automatic updates, which is great to see. Once the robot has updated, we're gonna go into the robot here, and then we will see at the top, there was a little notification that I needed to do another update on the RTK. So I just tapped here and then I tapped update. So the antenna then received an update as well. And now we are ready to map out our yard. So here it has the option to prepare this charging station, which we've already done. We've gone through that setup. We've connected it to Wi-Fi. So here it's talking about the best location is on a flat surface with nothing in the way of the charging station. You need to make sure you cut your grass to about 4 inches tall, which I've already done. And then we've plugged it in, and now we are ready to connect the RTK, which I have already done as well. And here it recommends placing it out in the open with nothing obstructing the view on top. and then we inserted it in the ground. Be careful you don't puncture any pipe like I did, but yeah, be careful about that and make sure it's 90 degrees pointing to the sky. And then we're going to prepare the robot. So now it's going to do a valid satellite check and make sure the robot is on the charging station. And there it is, 24 satellites that it has found. And now we have attached the charging station. Once it is in a good spot, we're going to attach it. So it's best to kind of see if it sits on there properly, if it's flat, all before you have anchored it into the ground. Now that we've done that, we are ready to map the lawn. So now we just need to tap Start Mapping here.
Please click Start in the app to set a starting point.
I'm going to connect to it over Bluetooth, and now I need to go to my starting point. So we have a little remote control here that we can use. Going to tap Start, and now we are going to drive around the lawn. So we have two options. We can do auto mapping, where it's going to follow the border, and then we can erase easily. So let's go ahead and try this out.
Start auto mapping.
And here it's just finding the border all by itself. It's doing a pretty good job. Now, this is the most difficult corner in the home, so let's see how it does. Went right up to the edge there. Very impressive. Now, normally at this point with other robot mowers, I've had to stop the auto mapping and do it myself, but so far this is cruising along. Now on the app, if I do need to stop, I can tap the button right here. I can then continue to drive on my own, and if I need to reverse, I can just hold down the roll back button, and it's then going to rewind just a little bit, and then we can keep going with auto map. We are now back at the beginning, and there we made it to the end point, so it has now saved the map. So we're going to tap end. All right, we can go to mowing now or go to map editing, and then we can add other areas. So this is actually very similar to their robot mops, where you have the combine, divide, name, but now we're going to create another area as well as create paths between them. So I just need to tap add down here. Then we need to go to the next area starting point and map that out. Now that I have my 3 areas mapped out, I'm now going to create a path between the areas. So I'm going to tap path, and we're going to add. And then I'm just going to drive to where I want this path to start. And we're going to start from here. And then we're going to manually go to the other area. And if you mess up, you can always hold down rolled back. Now once it gets to the next area, it's saved. The yard has now been mapped, and that was very easy to do. With the auto mapping, we were able to get around this in no time. Now the only real tip about that is if you have 2 lawns that are right next to each other, we have one being separated by a fence, I would try and stay just a little bit away from the fence on both areas so that they don't get automatically combined, because then you're not able to create a path between the two. But once I figured that out, then we were able to get it fully mapped. Now let's jump into the app and show the settings to get this mowed. So now that we have the yard mapped out, we have a few options here. We can do a manual mow, which gives us the option to do an auto, an area, an edge, a manual, or enhanced. Or we can go and create a schedule where we can choose what hours it's going to be mowing throughout the day and turn that schedule on and off. So here, let's go ahead and just do an auto, and we're going to tap start, and then here it's saying it's at the time when animal protection hours are on. So if we keep going, we will be able to turn that feature off and mow. So first we have the option to mow by speed. So we can do delicate, where it's just going to take longer, you're going to have a nicer cut. Or you can do a little bit faster. We can adjust the mowing height. So we have 1.2 inches all the way up to 3.5, and we are going to set it to, let's see if we can do, all right, looks like 2.8 is what we're going to set it at. And then we have flat ground with short grass, normal environment, or high grass. So we're going to do normal environment. If we go back, we can choose the areas. So if you want the front area to be different from the back, you can do that. So let's go ahead in the front, make it 3.2. And do the same over here. 3.2, quick mowing. All right, that looks great. Then down here we have mowing direction, so you can come in and change that direction. So if you go this way, it's going to be the 45 or whatever angle you want it at, 90 degrees. But let's go back here. Then you have change mowing direction weekly, which is great to have. You can do the edge. So edge mowing allows it to go right up to where we have mapped it out. Cross boundary allows it to mow on the edge if it sees that it can do that. So that's nice to get right between the grass and the concrete for the sidewalk. And then here you have mow along map boundaries. So during mowing, the robot will follow the map boundaries created. So I'm going to go ahead and do the edge mowing. You have a rain sensor, so on the top, if it does rain and it's detected, it will automatically dock so that it's not mowing while it's raining. And then here we can turn off the animal protection. We don't have any animals right now, but it's great that you do have that. So now we are ready to start mowing. All right, so far it is off to a quick start. Now for safety, it did come out of the charging dock pretty slow, but this is actually very quick. Now this is a time lapse, but here you can see how it is able to align properly back and forth, has a nice pattern going, and it's doing this so fast. The wider cutting area makes this very quick to complete this area. Then once it completes all the inside, it is now going to do the edge where it gets right up there to the edge as close as it can within that 5 centimeters and has a nice looking finish. Now sometimes I feel like some of the other robot mowers get stuck and stop and have to think for a bit, but this just knows where to go and it's excited to get there. Here you can see as it's turning back and forth, it has no problem getting the other direction and going forward and getting the lawn cut. And there you can see how well it cut this down to that nice lower 2.8 inch height right there. And this is going to get the lawn done in no time. So jumping here into the app, it has mowed 17% and used 83% of the battery. Over here it's showing that we have 2,359 square feet of area to mow today. If we zoom in on the actual map here, the light green is where it has mowed and the dark green is where it is going to mow or has yet to mow. There's no path that it's showing on here, but it's changing the direction each time it mows. So it's gonna not have lines ingrained in the ground, but it'll have nice lines showing the lawn has been cut well. So here you can see that once it does this area, there is a path it's going to follow to the next area. So I really like having all that right here on the app. This is doing really good so far. Can't wait to see what it looks like when it's done. And here in the edge mode, it gets right up there to the edge, a little bit past the boundary to get as close as it can and turn around. I kind of like that. And then I do like it has multiple options of how it treats the border. I would like to see an option of being able to ride half on the border in some circumstances. Now I don't have any 24-degree slopes in my home, but this is as big as I got and it's doing a pretty great job even at this little angle here. We'll see when it does the border if it can get all the way up to here. Love how quick that turns. Now taking a look after it was finished with the first cut there in the backyard, this did an incredible job. I can see all the way over there looking super smooth up here, and then even right here, it has a really nice cut. Now I have some more free time to spray to kill some of these weeds before the next mow. Now it's only 45 centimeters wide or about 18 inches, so it can easily get through pretty small paths. And here it is finished cutting the backyard and it's moving right onto the side yard. Now at any point, if it becomes unstable, it will stop the blades from cutting to be safe, but once it stabilizes itself, the blades begin to cut again. It's now done with the side yard. That did that so quick. It is now headed over the path to the next lawn. Now, one thing I always have to mention is how quiet robot mowers are, and these are no different. I can barely hear these, just the blades cutting a little bit from far away. My neighbor has his mower out. It's loud. He has his earplugs in. I think this is a great way to go. All right, let's see how it handles the stairs. Here it's doing a little bumping into them, but not getting stuck, which is what I would like to see. And now that it's finished the main mowing, it's going to do the automatic zero edge cutting, where it precisely lines up to the edge of the lawn, getting as close as it can to finish off that boundary, to polish off the finished look. And there it finished the 2,359 square foot lawn with 31% battery left. It's now going to head back to the charging station.
Start charging. Work complete.
And there we have it. It was able to complete the lawn in just under 53 minutes, which I would say is pretty amazing for a robot lawnmower. That is pretty quick compared to others on my lawn. Now, it did that full area. And here on the map, it's showing that there were a few little areas that it could have got stuck or it marked as potential hazards, which is pretty cool. But that's it. It mowed the lawn. It's all done. We don't need to do anything else. Okay, except for maybe edging just a little bit, but it did go around that border and get those final things. I'd love to see an option for like 2 borders, so it does another one just in a little bit. But you know, software is awesome. You can easily update that and adjust how that works. But so far, this has been an excellent system, being able to get everything done in such a quick amount of time without getting stuck one time. No intervention from me. It just did the job. In here, once it's all finished, you can see how well it cut this bumpy, hilly area. And it got right up to the edge here, just a little bit that I will need to trim. Did excellent around the border over here. And I'm very happy with the final results. Now, there are a bunch of other options in the app of how you can mow or different things, so let's go ahead and jump through those different options now. Now, after you have auto, the next option is area. Now, this is where you can choose a specific area that you have on your lawn to mow. So if I just want to mow the backyard, I'm going to select it and hit start, and it's going to just mow that area. Now, the next option is edge. So if we choose edge, here it's saying that we need to make sure there are no obstacles on the edge, so clear them first. And then we need to select the area we want to do the edge on. And once we do that, it's then just going to drive around and do a cut as close as it can to that edge to make sure that it's fully done. I find this to be helpful sometimes just to get some of those little areas it missed after it mowed. Now, when it does finish mowing, it will do an edging, but it's nice to go back every once in a while and just do one around the border. And here it's almost complete the edging. It's going around the trampoline and doing a fine job at staying right up against that edge. And now that it's done the edging here, you can see it got right up to the edge here. We just have a little bit left to trim over, and you can see the nice cut between this bunch of grass and the cut line. Now, next we have the option for manual. So here, if I tap on manual and tap enter, I do need to connect to it over Bluetooth, and this allows me to drive the robot as long as I am close to it anywhere in my yard. It's going to automatically remove itself from the dock, and it's showing them a little too far away, so you need to be right up next to it. I can just manually drive it around like a remote control car anywhere in my yard, maybe if I want to move it to one area to the next. But then I have the option to activate the blade, and I can even set what height I want the blade at, so it's at 3.2 right now. So now when I drive, it's going to be cutting. So maybe if it missed a spot or I want to go over a spot again, I can easily use manual mode to go through and get that area cut. And then once I'm done, I can tap the charging station option. It's going to exit manual mode and head back to the charger. Here we have the option for enhance. So is what this does, maybe your yard is just overgrown and out of control. Well, you can come in here, turn this on, so even if the grass is higher than 4 inches, you're able to use this, and it adjusts the obstacle avoidance height up to 10 inches. So meaning if you have tall grass, it's not going to void it, it's going to go through and cut it out as you have mapped in your area where to cut. So we can tap OK, and then we can choose the area we want to cut. Now, the goal of the enhanced mowing is to cut it down so that the A2500 can go back a couple days later and do just a maintenance mow versus a full mowing. So it's great that it has this option. again. And here it has finished the enhanced mode, and you can see those nice lines that it has left in the yard and cut it down to a nice level that's going to be easy to maintain. If you did want to go back and adjust any of the main mowing settings, you need to go up to the top settings gear icon here, tap mower settings, and then here's where you can choose the auto settings or per area and the direction and edge and all those other items. Next, let's take a look at creating a schedule. And let's say I want to mow every evening. We're gonna do 1700. So we have the option to do full area, or we can just do a specific area or specific areas. So maybe one day I want it to mow the backyard, the next days I want it to mow the front yard, and the side. You can easily do that. And here it's saying that it needs 1.5 hours to mow the entire area. So now we need to choose how long we want to mow. So it's going to start at 1700 hours and mow till 1830 hours, and then execute mowing task. Once enabled, the mowing task will start at the scheduled time. So then once we have it set, we can turn this on, or if you want to temporarily turn off something, you can turn that off without deleting your task. So now we tap save, and now every Monday it is going to mow. So if we want to do the same thing, we can go to Wednesday, tap full area, choose the day, and save. Super simple to do. If we wanted to adjust how long it's going to mow, we can go through and say, keep mowing during these hours. Maybe it rains or something and it can't mow at a specific hour. It would mow up into the end time, and then it would stop mowing and go back home. So we can tap save. There you can see that it has been adjusted there. Very simple, and we can name this, Monday, Wednesday schedule. Now I know you can't see that, but that is the mower working at night. It's having no problems. Now this is only possible when you turn off the animal protection mode. You'll have no problems if you schedule this to run at night. Now one more feature I want to show is how you can remotely view the camera on the GOAT A2500 here. So right here, I'm going to tap on the camera. I'm going to set a PIN code so that it's a secure connection. Then once I've entered that, I can now open the video. And now I have a live video feed. So I can actually call through this, and you can change the volume here. Hello, how are you? Oh, it's amplifying my voice. Here you can record videos, take pictures, and return to the station. And then over here, I even have the option to control the GOAT. So now it's leaving the base station. And now I can control it from here. I'm not able to mow like this, but it's kind of cool that I can drive it around as I'm viewing it, maybe move it to a different area that I want it to be at.
And so that's how you can remotely view the GOAT A2500.
And lastly, it's time to test out the advanced intelligent obstacle avoidance with the Horizon X5 chip. As you can hear, we have kids playing in the yard. We have all kinds of things scattered throughout the yard sometimes. So I want to see how well it does in avoiding those as we mow this lawn one more time.
Hi! My name is Bum Bum.
And obstacle number one, it bumped into it, but then it went around it. All right, here we go. Second obstacle. It was comfortable going past, so we'll let it do that. And for the flat object, it did not care and drove right over it. And next up we have a large ball in the yard. It looks like it sees it. It's slowing down, gets pretty close to it, and ooh, goes the other way to complete that area. Very impressive. Slowing down again for this tall obstacle. And going around without an issue. Deal. Kid in the way, slowed down. Tried to navigate around, but he moved out of the way. And there it gets right up to it within a few millimeters, I'd say, and goes the other direction. And the last obstacle here is a small baseball. And it is too small. Ran right over it. There we go. Still in one piece. All good. And here in the app, it will point out little obstacles that do need to be moved for next time. Now in the app under mowing mode, you have the speed, but then you also have the avoidance mode. So for this demo, I believe I used normal environment, but you also have flat ground with short grass. So that probably would have helped in the flat object. And then you have high grass environment, so it's not going to do as much obstacle avoidance. So it's nice there are a few different options I can adjust if I want more obstacle avoidance. And in case of an emergency stop, you need to push the play and OK, and that will clear it. From the very first time I turned on the ECOVACS GOAT A2500, I was very impressed. As soon as it went out, made its first turn, I couldn't believe how quick it was able to do that, and that's thanks to that 32-volt energetic platform. Now, other than that, my favorite features were the dual cutting discs. Being able to cut both with the blades off-centered a little bit left the lawn looking very, very nice. I couldn't believe how with one pass it was able to show how nice it cut, and after it did the lawn, it looked done. I didn't need to go back and do another pass like I've done on other robot mowers before. So it did an excellent job with those cutting discs, and that's just because of how fast and quick they're spinning and how well they work. Next, I was very impressed by the auto mapping. From the very beginning, usually auto mapping, it says it's going to take so long, but it always takes way longer. This, it took as long as it said. 15 minutes, was able to get the lawn mapped, and I loved how I was able to easily take over and do the rollback feature and have it back up and continue on and fix it. The only issue I had with the mapping was the different area separation, so as long as you don't go too close, you won't have any issue with that, and the map is running great, and I love how you have the mapping ability to adjust that right in the app. Now my lawn, it had no problem cutting it in one battery charge, so if you have a bigger lawn, you're going to have it charge in between the different areas probably, so that it can then go back out and cut them. So with the RTK, that lets you have a really large area, so we can go up to the 0.5 acres of an area to cover, which is awesome. And so I think it's going to be no problem to you with how fast this did it. It's going to be able to go out there, get the area done, go back, charge up pretty quick, and then go back out and do the next area, probably finishing quite a big area in just one day. Now overall, very happy with everything this can do and the ability of the app to get it done and get it done quickly. Now, if you have any further questions about the GOAT A2500, please let me know down in the comments below. And if you want to pick up a very capable robot lawnmower, make sure you check out the link down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.